So I had grabbed the better camera. Oh well. I'll make the episode 2 shorter because it was a little rambly. The lower decks reviews don't tend to be as long. Yeah, in this one, I have no bones, but I flee. Or I have no bones, but I must flee. Is about a space menagerie station that they go to. Mariner. They do a gag where they do the Shax and Ransom, or the two buff guys on the ship, are doing the Deanna Troi and Dr. Crusher thing in spandex. And Mariner overhears them and thinks that she's going to get demoted, and it's a trick. But and then brothers are trying to get promoted, but there's this other ensign guy is like the foil, and he's like, he's not really a villain. They're just playing it up. The Vulcan lady's not really in this one. Tendi and Rutherford are acting like really best buddies, like they're gonna shag. And Starship Locations, I believe they're married, or at least they were. If they're not married, they were at one point. But yeah, it's 20 years later, and they probably were, and then they didn't want to be married anymore. But in Starship Locations, Mariner and Bulmer are married. So Mariner eventually marries Boimler. So she's a Boimler. Yeah. So, but yeah. So in the future, 20 years later, we're not sure when they got married. Maybe they got married soon, but who knows? But yeah. So in this one, they're not married here. No, that's just what happens in Silly Track. Yeah, and so is a guy named Ransom? I think the guy's named Ransom. So he goes on maybe that's the captain. I kept forgetting who the commander guy is. Yeah, I think it's Ransom. The commander guy and Mariner go on a mission. They go with this ensign guy, who is basically Mike Melt, and that ties in. And and he's freaking out because she's trying to she's wearing the wrong she's wearing a gym outfit, trying to get in trouble. They go to the menagerie station, and there's this plant creature there, and there's lots of nods to things in there. The Debrian serpent is there, and there's some humans in a cage, and apparently there's a Mumsie, which is similar to a nibbler from Futurama, and the Mumsie is a bone-eating creature that eats your bones, and then they have to put they have to knock the guy in the ransom in the teeth, so they can escape by trail of teeth back to the cage. She didn't let the Mumsie out. The humans in the cage did, and they leave him there. A very, very track horror story. Very, very much a silly story. Silly in the story. Also, in the beginning of the story, Romulan group is attacked. Romulan ship is attacked by the mysterious shooty laser thing. This is probably the beginning of the AI thing that happens to Mars later. Ooh, so that's cool. That's probably what's going on. They're gonna do that mysterious AI thing, because it would be close by. If it's the same universe, it would be close to the other, like what happened to Mars and Picard and all that, the Picard show. So yeah, which was 2385. So yeah, and the supernova is already happening. It's beginning to happen at Romulus, so they have to evacuate before it blows up. They didn't mention that in this episode, but I'm sure that's an implication in there. So, the Romulan commander was clearly Sheila V from Trek Corps, playing a Romulan, which is funny. But yes. But yeah, so we have Gemelt playing an ensign, and possibly the other guy with the blonde dude. So, not really though. I'm sure they didn't actually talk to him. I'm sure they saw the Cillian stuff. They read the stories in 2016, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just use that." Yeah, they didn't pay us because we didn't really pitch. They just read other people's Trek fanfic stuff and said that would be cool. Actually, you could say that the secondary ensign guy in engineering is Commander Cockings from Trek Yards. because he kind of looks like him a little bit. Could be him, because that could be Commander Cockings from Shark Cards. So that's good. That's good. I'm sure somewhere in there is Jessie Gender. Somewhere in there. Maybe she's the Vulcan. Yeah. maybe she's the Vulcan. Yeah. It might be. Different actress playing her here, but it could be a nod to her. The plant curator could be a nod to, I don't know. I don't know what it's a nod to, really. So there you have. Yeah, the bones episode. The thing that sucks bones out of creatures and stuff, which would be a really dumb idea to have in a menagerie. If you would just like phaser it before it kills everybody. Yeah, and the thing gets knocked out of orbit, and then they gotta stop it before the Mumsie escapes, and of course it's a Mumsie. Yes, it's a Mumsie. It's a reference to Mumsie. Yes. Who would pop in and interrupt the filming, but she's up in Roseville, so she's not interrupting the filming. So we're done here with this episode, just to make it shorter, because what else to say? It's a menagerie episode. It's silly to knock all his teeth out and have his teeth, and then they got to put new teeth in him and stuff. And then there's Robin Hood thing. Oh, and then Boimler gets a quarters next to the warp nacelle. I always wondered about that in Star Trek, whether like next to the warp nacelle they would probably not want to put cabins there. Their brains would be fried. You see little action figures of characters from Kirk and stuff, and Pike and. And it ends with Rutherford later. They figure out I'm promoting Rutherford, because Tendi figures it out that they can do that. I don't know if that actually works, but considering it's not really a navy, it's really more like a Starfleet is more like a United Nations. It just uses navy ranks, so they can do whatever. But yeah, that would still be a protocol thing. I would think. It's fine. Yeah. These 2 episodes were aired today all together to push it ahead so that you could have our release of a Robotech the Transformers thing. Maybe, not really.